most people, as you know,
Yeah,
focus on activities which they cannot influence or control.
100%.
50% of all the adverse outcomes that we predict never happen.
But the fact is that the internal killer is stress. It's like a silent killer.
So the term that we will talk about today is the mental resilience. When you actually give up,
That is defeat.
that is defeat.
Well, and some people stay in it for so long that they have to go on antidepressants.
That is correct.
When we put our heart and soul into something and it didn't come through for us. But after that, I do something very interesting. I disconnect for a couple of days and go away. Do you know, Adnan, that 1 million people here in the US miss work because of stress?
I did not know that.
You guys know that a mythbuster, we all think that disease is caused by bad eating habits, this and that, but it's a proven fact that fear and stress, they really hit your immune system very hard and drop your immunity down.
I can relate to that.
Really?
Yes, because immune system is the biggest issue, and it could be a cause of many other diseases. And that number, I've collected some stat on that too. That
Really?
number is close to like 35%.
Wow.
So 35% of all the illnesses that are caused out there, stress could be a reason.
So it is unbelievable, right? Because we always think that disease is caused by this and that and the food we eat and how many hours we sleep or things like that. But the fact is that the internal killer for most of our health and our body is stress. It's like a silent killer, which causes a lot of disruption in our life. So most people think about disease and they think about several other factors. But the fact is, this disease is nothing but dis-ease. So when you're not at ease and you're stressed, you're driving your body towards disease.
That's a very interesting way to put it.
Yes.
Disease. Okay.
Dis-ease is the opposite of,
So
good
whenever
health.
you get uncomfortable, it gets to a disease.
when you are stressed. So dis-ease is a short way to say it is stress.
Yeah.
But Adnan, don't you think that some people manage stress a lot better than other people? What is the reason?
Correct. That is correct. And that is what we will talk today. What are some of those strategies that others employ?
Yeah.
Because this is what I learned, that high performing and successful people, if you think about the CEOs of very large organizations,
Yes.
they have to manage stress very differently. They consider their productivity very different from others.
Yes.
So there's a certain way they handle that.
There's
and there's
so
certain
many
way
books on this too.
There are so many books, and they have optimized their life in a very different manner.
Yeah.
And when these uncomfortable situations come in,
Yeah.
they know how to handle it differently from an average
Yeah.
person. If you look at the chart here, in this chart, it's called a locus of control. And most people, as you know,
Yeah.
focus on activities
Yeah.
which they cannot influence or control,
100%.
right?
Yes.
So I'll give an example.
Yeah.
I vouch for my football team, and they're not doing great, and I'm extremely upset about that.
The challenge is that you cannot influence everything in your life. It's meant to be a little unpredictable, and that is called life. That's what this journey is about. It's about the unpredictables. But the fact is, we're so controlling in our lives that we want to control every outcome. And some of these outcomes are not for us to control.
That is correct. So here what you can focus is, right, okay, I have an outcome that I am expecting,
Yeah.
and that's my desirable outcome.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there could be a probability of a failure. in it,
Correct.
right? Now the chances of that failure is statistically are 50%. So 50% of all the adverse outcomes that we predict never happen.
Correct.
So you should not think about that.
Yeah.
And if those outcomes have to happen,
They're going to happen
they're
anyway.
going to happen anyways, right? So why worry about today?
When you overthink about a situation, the ability for you to attack that situation when you actually encounter it is so disabled because you already did the math way too many times.
So now if you start to think about, okay, there's that adverse possibility as well that can happen. Okay, so what could be that plan B?
Yeah.
So you can work on that plan B until that time, right? So that's gonna keep you relaxed. At least you will feel that you have some control. Yeah. Right?
I don't know how you feel about it, but I think travel has really taught me to be very calm in situations. And I seriously mean it. The fact is, when you travel so much, you cannot control whether the flight is going to fly on time. You cannot control whether you're going to get somewhere on time and you're going to see an Uber or you're not going to see an Uber, or how much traffic is going to be there. And these are all unforeseen circumstances. You can plan for it to the best of your ability, but at the end of the day, you have to understand that the other people that you're dealing with are also human. They feel and encounter the same situations that you do. And what people realize in situations is that you put your best foot forward. You gave an effort. So a lot of times when I'm traveling and the flight is delayed, I mean, I'll just find energy and source my time to feel good about myself.
That is great. So this is something you can we can share
with our audience.
I deal with this a lot. And initially, when I started many years ago, I had to travel. Whenever there's rain or there's a flight delay coming to Chicago, where, by the way, is notorious. 5-minute delay, and then everything is shut down. So it is always, very stressful. Yeah. But then over the years, I decided, right, these things can happen. Yeah. These things can happen, so you are mentally prepared for that. Yeah. What you do is you think about, okay, if this happens, what will you be doing? Yeah. Right? Can I take some work? Yeah. Right? Can I even meditate? You
brought up such a good point, Adnan, because sometimes what people think is you need a quiet spot somewhere in one corner in your house to meditate. But the fact is, you can meditate anywhere, because you have to meet you. You have to be connected to your own soul to meditate. So a very nice point that you brought up. Yes. Yeah.
So that's something we got to do. And then I have a few other points as well. So the term that we will talk about today is the mental resilience. So resilience, I believe, is one of those capabilities. It's a mindset that can distinguish between successful and not so successful.
I agree, Adnan. 100% agree with you. Okay. It is how you address things that decides the destiny of your outcome.
That's absolutely correct. So let's talk about resilience, right? And why it's important. Say you run into some kind of adverse situation in life, which can happen.
And everybody does.
And everybody does, right? Life is never smooth. It's never bed of roses. So
every rose comes with a thorn.
That's correct. So you will run into some kind of undesirable situation.
100%.
How you cope with it, that is resilience. So first step number one is acceptance.
Yes.
So if you run into a situation, say you are in business, you are working on a big opportunity for a very long time, but unfortunately you didn't get it.
Happens all the time. Yes.
What is the first reaction? You will feel defeated?
You feel dejected. The first reaction is you feel dejected because you put your, blood, sweat, and soul into something, and it does not happen. So it's natural. You're supposed to feel dejected. You're supposed to feel bad. But are you going to feel that forever?
Once this happens, most of the time, what people do is they sort of live in the past for a little while. What past means that I wish I have done that. I wish he has done that.
Blaming somebody or yourself.
Someone or yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And you stay in this for at least few days.
Yeah.
Some people can take weeks or months.
Well, and some people stay in it for so long that they have to go on antidepressants.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Right? So the first step is that to transition into present. Is start to live in the moment, because what has happened cannot be changed.
Now, the difference between highly successful people and people who don't make it big in life for whatever reason is exactly that.
Yes.
Somebody who wants to be successful is going to take a rejection, a defeat, a rejection, and they're going to feel bad about it, just like you, right? Just like us, right? We're human. We're supposed to feel bad about it. But the difference then comes in Are you going to look at what went wrong and use that as a learning for your next one, or as a dejection forever?
That is correct. So absolutely right. So the first step, you come into the present,
Yes.
and then you start to take control. When you start to take control, that's when that reflection moment starts.
Take control.
Take control, start reflecting, learn from that mistake or whatever, even if it's not a mistake, what are the other actions you could have taken to avoid that situation?
And Adnan, two important things you just said, right? We said we all feel horrible because we're supposed to. So enjoy that moment for a few hours, for a day, for two.
They cannot
right?
enjoy, but
whatever, live that moment, right?
Yes.
for a day or two or whatever. But the more important thing is what he said later. The minute you take control of that situation, you have changed your destiny.
Beautifully
because
said.
you just turned around and said, from here, I'm going to architect the next thing.
Now, in certain situation, when it comes to say relationship, it's not that easy.
Yes.
You know, you may have invested in your relationship for a long time, but that other person may not have seen it that way and have left you.
Yes.
Now you're feeling dejected. But on situations like this, you also have to think about that there is a brighter side to this as well.
100%.
If that person is not able to see your value with all your effort, that person may not be the right fit for you
Yes.
anyways.
And there's a very wise man who once said that if one door gets closed for you, then there's 3 other doors that are open for you.
That's beautiful.
Right? Yes.
So those things actually will bring positivity
Yeah.
and help you regain,
Yes.
help you get back up.
So long as you turn your direction to look at the 3 other doors. That is a choice you make by taking control.
And coming in the present, because
Yes.
if you stay in the past,
Yeah.
you will never be able to look around and what those other doors are.
Yes.
So if there is a business opportunity, you can start to look for more,
Yes.
right? You can always look for a better partner.
Yes.
If there is any other, maybe an illness or some other issues, you can start to look
Yeah.
for
But
better change.
what can you do now, right? If there is an illness, then you cannot dwell over what could you have done to not get that. The fact is you're in it now. So the more important part is, how are you going to deal with this? Are you going to deal with this with positivity and you're going to take control and you're going to manifest good things to come to you? Or are you going to give in and let it take over you?
That is absolutely correct. So first, start from acceptance.
Yes.
Accept.
Yes.
And acceptance doesn't mean that you're accepting defeat, right? A failure is never a defeat. When you actually give up,
that is defeat.
that is defeat,
Yes.
right? So failure is an opportunity to learn,
Yes.
to get better.
Failure is actually a very good thing for you, because when you actually win, then the failure is the one that makes your win, your victory, a lot more sweeter.
That's exactly right?
Yeah.
How do you feel when you work hard, and get a big deal after, maybe may have some blockers early on?
Well, Adnan, don't forget that I just started a new business. And when you start a new business, as much as people support you in entirety emotionally, they're not going to support you in your day-to-day. And no business, Rome was not built in a day.
That is so
No
beautiful.
business
So
is
Arveen,
built.
your experience in your business actually would help our audience
Yes.
a lot, because you probably went through all this journey.
All of the journey. And the fact is, as a leader in any organization, whether you own your own company like me, or you're a leader in Google or any other company that you work for, your people soak energy from you. So if you're feeling down, you have nothing to give to them. So the whole group will be completely in the hollows together. But if you choose to build yourself up, if you put on your oxygen mask, then everybody else will feel like you can put the mask on for them too.
Yeah,
And
you
you can
have
feel
to
them
be
better.
you have to be happy first to keep
Yes.
the others happy,
It
and the same thing
creates
will
a
happen
big impact.
in your house as well.
Yes,
right? Maybe
even
if
with
you
your children.
with
You know,
your
even
children.
if you have little kids. When we used to have little kids, now our kids are grown. But one thing I always noticed, that if I was feeling sad or upset about something, I didn't have to say a word to my children. They just soak it in from you.
They are sponges.
Yes. You just feel like their day got very gray as well from it's not shining bright. So as a new business owner, I can share an experience that, it took some time for us to get to a point where we were comfortable. But all of those moments in the journey, when we faced a rejection, when we put our heart and soul into something and it didn't come through for us, those things have to happen to everyone. But after that, I do something very interesting. I disconnect for a couple of days and go away. Because when I go away, it tells my team two things. One, that defeat or whatever it was, that rejection, did not break me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I went on a small getaway. I went on a vacation. I unplugged.
Did that recharge you?
I rejuvenated. So when I come back, we're ready to dive into the next one. And everybody else is feeling energized too because they're soaking in from my energy.
That's beautiful. I think that's the approach. If we carry with that mindset,
yes,
right, that this is bound to happen.
Correct.
Right? These failures, these undesirable situations are bound to happen,
yes,
and we have to deal with it.
100%.
I think we will be able to create a better action plan, and those action and that mindset is going to help us minimize that stress
and manifest positivity
and learn from mistake. Take action.
Take action.
Next, plan B, new opportunities, as you said, new doors, right? So we need to focus on the other side as well, because there are other opportunities as well.
So, I always bring the yin to the yang, and so I'll say a spiritual thing, right? So sometimes when you get something that you really wanted, you should absolutely thank the powers above or the Lord, whatever you believe in, right? Or you thank yourself for it. But if you did not get what you really, really wanted, you should thank even more. Because what we don't know sometimes, it's what's behind the curtain that we can't see.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, because you are always thinking this is the right thing for us.
Yes.
Maybe that may not be the right
thing for you. Even though you think it's right for you in the moment, you don't know what history is going to be, or what the future is architected for you.
So your role should be to try or put your best foot forward.
Of course.
Put your best effort in, 110% or even more.
Yes.
Right? And then wait and see. Don't stress on things that you cannot control.
Certainly. And one of the really important ways that I try to practice it every day, is before you go to bed every night, and as soon as you open your eyes every morning, think of 3 things in your life that you're really thankful about. That is a way to make yourself end your day and start your day on the right foot. Because a lot of times, because we're so busy with all the noise that's around us, that sometimes we forget the most simple and most important pleasures of our life.
That's such an important thing.
Yeah.
Because we take our blessings for granted. We are always looking for the things that we don't.
Having a good family.
Yeah.
Forget about the family. Having all your limbs, be able to have bread every day on your table, have good kids, you have a pet that really loves you, you have family that supports you, you have a friend circle that takes care of you, you can pay for your bills. Think about anything. There's endless number of things.
You have support mechanism available to you,
yes,
right? Even in these these distressful situations, right? You
yes,
can seek support.
Yes.
Your friend, family, right? They're also available for you.
So if you're being able to hang with people that are allowing you to be a more positive person, or if they're not positive, you can bring some positivity into their lives, then this is all a very healthy way to deal with stress or help others deal with stress.
So the humans are very adaptable.
Yes.
We are designed like that, right?
Yes.
We are designed to face adversity,
yeah,
and then fine-tune ourselves, right?
Yes.
The faster that we do, and the faster we are able to switch our mindset, I think that is what makes difference between an average versus a highly successful people. Because think about this, right? I always think about how the leaders operate, right? Because they typically work a lot more than us. They have a lot of other issues to deal with.
Yeah.
But how are they coping with all this?
Yeah.
And this is from some of the leaders, some of the diaries that I have seen, how CEOs operate, how high performance people use, right? So these are some of the attributes, these are some of the practices that you can employ in your life as well. And I'm sure you are doing this in your company and building that culture.
I am learning every day. I'm taking control and I'm adapting myself to better outcomes. And I hope that you will too.